What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Dent Digest live show. What's going on, Alex?
Not much. Glad to be back in the U.S.
I know. I was gonna have a show last week, but I decided to just wait. We've got some really, really good stuff this week, all the way up to MTE. We got some good stuff, so
Yeah,
I'm ready for MTE, man. I
I'm
am.
excited for this show.
This show is gonna be. I've
Yeah,
had more calls about this show than I have in a lot of shows in a while. So the hardest part I think is going to be is the hour ahead.
hmm
So, some guys will probably pop on towards the end and not realize that the time was changed, but I kind of put out what we had to put out to do what we could do. But I think it's going to be a really good information. You're going to get, this is a mini MTE show, like educational day show. These guys have
Yep.
just the 10 minutes of being on the show behind the scenes is worth my admission cost. So, you still busy?
Yeah, I'm busy, man. I went out of town for a week. I was in Mexico and came back. I was too busy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my worry with MT. We are
Yeah,
it's a lot of moving parts right now. Some stuff, you're in business and everything's going good and you're like, yeah, this is great. And then the next day you're like, oh man, what's going on? But man, the amount of true curveballs that have been coming the last couple months is not bad. They're not bad curveballs, but it's
yeah.
curveballs of you're like, what the hell is going on? So
Seems like it all comes at once.
it does. It really does, shop's still busy, so I can't complain. It's January. We're booked right now to mid to end of February. It's a different world. Like my wife says, this is the new normal. It
Yeah,
is what it is. It's education, education, education. People knowing what we can do, getting to know, you're established in your area. So
yeah.
it's pretty cool. But let's get these guys on. They are in the middle of their night
hmm
in each one of their countries. I want to get as much information as we can because I'm sure they still have to work tomorrow. So, but let's get them on. What's up, Jonathan?
Hi, how are you guys doing?
I can't believe you're not laying in bed with your pillow.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning here.
Hey, we're doing what we, and it's funny because the last time I talked to Jonathan, it was like 6 a.m. my time, and this is when we were talking about bringing the show on. But I'm like, man, he's like, you do it live, right? And I said, yeah. He's like, oh man, it's in the middle of the night, and I was like, you got the spot if you want it. You know what I mean? So we could do it your time, but nobody would watch until the next morning. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
but let's get Barry on, and we'll have to introduce everybody and kind of explain where they are in their business and what they do and how long they've been doing it. So, what's up, Barry?
Hello,
How are you?
I'm good.
So,
Tired.
Jonathan, where are you from? How long you been pushing?
I live in Belgium. Actually, I was in collision from my 16 years old already. So I've been working then part-time in school. And then later on, I got into PDR through hailstorms and the hail work here in Europe. Kept on doing both of them. And then doing PDR something in the 20 years now. I don't know exactly the number, but maybe I need to look back on it. Something like that. I'm 47 now, so collision from 16 and then all the way through. And the last 10 years, as you guys probably know, I started working with Kiko, developing tools with them and prototypes with them and promoting GPR and glue pulling. And one thing led to another. And today, doing a new adventure next to all of that with Barry in GVF tools and some other new tools that we're doing together. So that's about it.
That's cool. That's cool. How about you, Barry? And if a lot of people don't know Barry, he's the guy that I think you created this, didn't you, Barry?
Yeah, that was a tool that my father and I, we had a body shop at home in Ireland, here in Northern Ireland. And the very first one of those was for fixing stockyards. So the first one, the handle on that there is approximately 2 foot long, and the shoe on it, the shoe that comes up is a foot long. It's a bit 600 millimeters or centimeters. But the first one was 4 foot tall, and a 2 foot leg on it, and it was for fixing stockyards, and that was made in 1978.
Wow.
So it was stockyard going around the track. You bent the quarter pound or whatever done. You took that, you pulled that, and you could almost lift the car off the ground, and that's the panel. And that was made out of an arm of a back of a tractor and a bit of 2-inch water piping, and that's where that come from.
So where are you from, and how long have you been in the business?
I'm from, as we would say, Agus na Cunda Ardwa, County Armagh in Northern Ireland. And I first heard tell of PDR in 1979.
Wow.
I was 15-year-old, and a guy that would travel around Europe. He was a paint demonstrator for a paint company called Inmont. And he demonstrated paint all around Europe and in Northern Ireland and around the south of Ireland. And he told me those guys in France, and they were pushing dents out. He says, that's not going to work. So he was rubbish. He was talking rubbish. But years later, when you would have been maybe spraying the car, and the paint mixed up, the 2-pack paint mixed up, and the next thing was one dent on the bonnet, and you couldn't stop because the paint was going to go off, and you painted the car. The next day, you went out with the back of the screwdriver and tried to push it out. And it wasn't right. But this is, we were always doing PDR. We just didn't know it. Mm-hmm. Then, I was in various body shops, Mercedes shops, BMW shops. It was a foreman on them, and took a bit of training. And in 2005 or 6, I went across the States. I've been in various courses in different places, in England and various places, but I went across and done a while with Marty Runnick in Sacramento, and done that, come back home, was working in a BMW Mercedes garage. They were doing a lot of work to C-Class Mercedes. They were coming in rusted, and there's new fenders, wings going on, new bonnets, hoods, new boot lids, and there was damage on the roof on the cant rails. So I had a kit of tools. There was a kit of tools in the body shop. 30 men working in the body shop. And the kit of tools were 304 stainless, and you could have bent them over your knee. But one of the first things I done was round the ends, just like your finger. One of the first things I done was shave the ends of them to be sharp. Because I was thinking, what I need to do is, instead of push that up, I need to move the metal to one side or the other side to push it up. And went on and realised it was no good. It took a bit of training, bought a set of Dentcraft tools, and had at it. Fell out with the body shop after a number of years, was running it, and started pushing it. Had the experience, had the luxury of metal finishing in the workshop. I was also doing classic car restoration, done Austin Healey's, E-Type Jaguars, making panels, rolling panels, and English wheels, and that type of stuff. So it was metal finishing a lot, and this was just another stage of the game. So 61 years of age now, I'm getting tired, I'm blind. But was always creating tools and creating 2 or 3, a lot of wee half-assed tools, got them going, but now trying to get a wee bit more professional in the old age, and just trying to apply that bit of old science to new vehicles. So that's where I am.
How did go ahead, Alex?
Sounds like you have a history in old school body work, the old method of working metal and metal flow, and that's a very rare.
There's at one time body shop were able to educate PDR men.
Yeah.
Now that skill has been lost. There's about a 20-year gap, and now PDR technicians are showing body men. And that's because there was no metal finishing done as such for a period of 10 years. There was metal or panel fitting, and now it's come back the other way. So if these wee lost arts aren't caught on, like nowadays you have a blenting hammer.
Yeah.
And a blenting hammer was originally a chasing hammer. A chasing hammer is what it says. It chases metal. You can take the metal, you can chase, you can push the metal down that way. A blenting hammer does something similar, but it's just new names for different things. And Jonathan well knows blenting hammers. He is, has had a good go at making those and showing older skills back into the thing. There's a skills gap and there's a lack of technology gap. If you look back to the 30s, boys were making panels in aluminum, 2 series of aluminium to make aircraft panels and bull nose on panels, and English wheeling panels, reverse curves and all the different things. That's lost.
Yeah.
But at that time, those guys with no technology made English wheels, cast English wheels, they cast a lot of hammers, they cast a lot of machinery, they're lead loaded, and there's not enough. There's a lot, but there's not enough technology, not enough brains being pushed into making not the same tools, new tools. And this is where perhaps, if there was a revenue to come out of it for older technicians like us to perhaps put
us, us.
Of a certain age to put stuff back into it. And before the skills lost.
Yeah.
How did you two team up on this project?
We've always known each other and met each other through shows and stuff, and then, just.
Yeah, it happened in a coincidence because some years ago I already had some prototypes made for lateral tension tools, and we were one time at a show, and he saw me pulling on with a strap to do lateral tension. He said, "I have something better than that, but I don't want to show it here." I said, "Yeah, I've got something better too." And how do you start there? How do you share a secret?
Yeah.
I said, "Well, if you show me, I'll show you. You want to show you mine." And if it works out, then we can do a deal. Then maybe we can do something together. And that's actually where it started.
It's
Awesome.
It's crazy how our industry is, because I remember Shane Griffin came and I remembered MT, and he's like, I was with Craig Dreyer, and he's like, come here. And we were out in the hallway, and he's showing me his big slide hammer that he came out with, and he's like, nobody can see this.
He sent me one too. Great.
It's so weird.
Shane is a buddy of mine. My wife's from New Zealand, and we had travelled back and forwards. Met Shane through a mutual friend in County Cork, Eddie Griffin. 2 men's Griffin, not related, but they trained together in the States and various things. But that tool, that sliding hammer, was measured up, and a whole lot of thought and brainstorming went together in my workshop.
Oh, really?
Shane was over stopping us. And then he went back to New Zealand, and he is a story of how that all come together. But that was,
that's cool.
Yeah, Shane's a good guy.
But it's just weird. It's weird how our industry tries to be as secret as they can for something new. You know what I mean? It's just, and it's worse now than it ever was. Tools getting knocked off, or ideas being stolen, or it's crazy.
You have to, because if you,
it's a big problem.
They forced us in getting a patent for this. Because if you don't get a patent, I can guarantee you the tool as it is today, if we wouldn't have an international patent, because we have a patent, the Great Britain one, where we started with, and now we have 4 in the making: US, Europe, Australia, Canada, and a PCD for the whole industrialized world. But if we wouldn't have had that, some guys that are really quickly would have already made a complete copy without any hesitation.
Yeah.
That's how it is today. And I don't understand that, but it is what it is.
Let's get into the tool, mainly how you guys came up with it, some of the engineering. Obviously, we don't want to give all the tips out, but the true build quality of this tool, like I said before the show,
It's amazing.
This is the best tool that I've ever owned in 25 years. When you have it in your hands, right? When you just touch this thing, you're like, oh my gosh, this is nothing like you've ever held. I mean, the pure, just the build quality, you know, the edges are on the aluminum are chamfered. The long bars has the name in the bottom of the bar, you know, the little black stop at the end, just little bits of touches. It's amazing just how you've got to touch it if you don't have it.
Yeah. Look, there is credit to, how do you say that in English? Credit to who owns the credit, or how do you say that sentence?
Your credit. You have to give credit to Jerry.
Yeah, because if you see my first prototype, it's welded together. It's pretty rough. But I just want to test every time I did with Kiko as well. Build a prototype and test the prototype, see how it works. Then you can adapt the prototype, weld, grind, whatever you want to do until you say, this is it. But then you need a guy, and that is Jerry Leopold. I've been working with him when he was at Kiko. Now he's working with us together. But the guy is an incredible engineer. He's 62 years old. He has a whole life of engineering behind him. All the tools almost on the Kiko system is what he CAD draw, and then went out and they made molds for it and make it. The guy is unbelievable in how what we always say, Jerry, this is the idea, but we want your sauce over it. Yeah. And then he comes back with stuff like that. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's scary, you know, and
I'll tell him you said that.
Some of these guys just, you know, you have a great idea and you throw everything in the pot, just like you said, and he can take those parts and put them together and come out with this. You know what I mean? So,
like we trouble that man. We give that man huge headaches. Like it makes something really nice, really sexy, look really good, functional, and then we'd say, but, and he'd go. Do you know, this extrusion, you don't buy that off the shelf. That's designed so that we can put our fingers in there, that is grippable, that this is flat, this has a tenon on it, and this end cap stops wee fingers getting in there. But that shape is computer generated, so it won't twist and torque. It'll hold the load this way, it'll hold the load that way, and it won't torque under the 7-inch bridge, the 7-inch drop, when we are pulling down on the top of the paint, and we put that down, flapping that over back and forward. Another feature on it, to get this spring engineered in such tight surrounding areas, to get that spring, then we spent time on the weight, the compression strength of the spring. Then there was time spent on
I have one loose here.
Yeah.
And then there's a compression spring here and a compression spring here. And those work, you can push or pull with this. That spring is a compression strength of 160 to 170 pounds.
Wow.
You can go past that once you're pulling on a panel. Once you go, when you're full out and the spring's at full compression, then you can go into dozer mode and you can start moving stuff stronger. But this spring was designed that it carries its weight when she's under pressure, that she's on the panel. There's a lot of stuff to it. But that there absorbs the shock. When you have that a panel there is down, you stick on here, you stick the feet on there, a foot on there, and a foot on there, and your tension, you're pulling out, that's going to come up. It's like a pillow. You go to bed at night and you have a pillow and you put your head on it. Your head puts the pillow down. So you could raise a big fat head like mine, you could raise it up by putting the feet on here, and if you stretch that out, it will lift the weight of your head. Then you put on the drawbar and pull up. But them compression springs are designed, once you have that up there, if that was just a fix, if you put a piece of timber, wood from there to there, and hold it just at that there, and you hit it, the timber will fall out. But that compression springs move and absorb the pressure and come out if you work it up and you think. Now, the hassle we give Jerry to get the spring tension rate and the extrusion rate and the depths of this and the foot being so low to centre of gravity was huge. We tormented the creator. And he never got frustrated. He's a really nice man.
You can actually see it if you look at the spring, what happens when it's inside of the tool itself. If you compress it by the end, you can see what happens to the spring here. You push it in by pulling lateral tension. You see what happens here. The spring compresses. But what actually happens is you start pulling lateral tension on your metal. You pull, the spring pushes in, and while you are knocking with a hammer, blending away the crown, that spring, you're at the end of the tool with another tool because there is a tension on it, and you stop cranking. But this spring, because it's compressed, you start banging with a hammer, the spring keeps on pushing, and it's a constant tension all the time pushing out. That's why this thing keeps on working, even while you're blending and flowing away those crowns. It's actually, Michael Grady was the first one actually coming with that idea, constant tension. He had that beam that you could put on a strap and with the spring in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why not more guys that use straps all the time don't have his constant tension spring. Because you pull on something and there is a tab there, and it's the same with lateral tension with springs. You put tension on the springs, you start banging on the metal. If it doesn't release on its own, you have extra tension of the spring. So you release the crowns and the spring keeps on pushing the whole time. So even when you're blending, the metal reacts different because of the extra spring tension in there. That's exactly what Mike is doing. At MTE, we're going to have a seminar together. Mike O'Grady and I will be presenting it. But it's constant tension in lateral tension and in glue pulling. Because of the extra tension there, you don't need to actually crank it so hard that the tab would release. You just want constant tension on it. And every time you bang, that spring pulls out that dent even more. Every time you bang, lateral tension does even more. So there is more thought behind it than that guys know that already bought the tool. And in that lifter, the lifter that just what Barry showed you, if you look at the lifter, the spring is in there as well. It is actually, it gets better. You have lateral tension here with the spring. So constant lateral tension. And then you have this lifter on it with also spring tension in there, because the spring goes in there. It's 5 centimeter spring. So it's a pretty long spring that if you start cranking it, I can't push it together, but while you're glue pulling, you can see it. You also compress it. So there is constant tension pulling up, constant tension pulling out. So you're not hurting the metal, but with those tensions on it and those springs on it, you release the metal in the best way possible.
Yeah. It's about 160 to 170 pound weight spring. So when you do that there, that's about 10 stone. So if I put a 10 stone guy on your back, he says, it's not a lot of pressure on that. If I get you to hold that in for 2 hours, you'll not do it. If I get a wee guy and put him on your back or hang him on the edge of a panel, and you take a hammer, and now, as I said before the show started, if you pull with a strap to one side of a panel, that doodah was originally made for lateral pulling. Everybody's pulling out, but it was for lateral pull to pull length back into the panel before you start. So a fender gets hit, it's crushed up against the door, and it's in. A lot of guys are just putting the doodah on and pulling out. They're just putting the doodah on a tire and pulling out. But the first thing I do is go to the front and pull laterally, sideways laterally. Lateral is sideways. Pull a lateral pull, it takes the pressure to that and then it comes out. Now, as I was saying earlier, before the show started, Ryan and Alex, we were speaking, when you have lateral pull, that's not lateral tension. You lose tension after so much. So if you have a fender and you start pulling the fender with a lateral tension, a lateral pull, next thing the fender, the gap at the door gives way and the gap gets wider. You've lost tension. Well, you need restraint. So you must either put another pull that way or glue the two panels together with a slapper. Put the slapper on, glue it there and glue it there. So you're getting a restraint. Once you have a restraint, then tension will happen. So this tool will go on and it'll apply tension, and as well as that tension, it's a balanced tension. And when you have a panel that went in and perhaps went that way, so that the panels went in and it was moved that way with impact. So we can put the tool on, pull the panel up. Now the panel needs to go that way. This is on this here, and there's a cutout on it. This is another thing that plagued Jerry with. He's a great man. He had designed this wee loop on this, so the strap will go into the bottom, skim over the top of the paint, and now you can pull, while this whole apparatus, you can pull the whole thing and pull the panel, still under tension, lateral tension, and you can pull the panel to one side. So this is another little bodywork feature that has been applied into it.
Yeah.
Now we do have a question here. They're asking, are the skinny feet tabs possible? Are they possible for development?
Yes, we are.
We have all the feet.
Working with some. There are extra feet coming, more than one set. You're going to have to wait until you see them. We're not going to say exactly what it is, but there are smaller feet because guys are asking for it, and there are different feet, specialized feet for them. But the thing is, like we said before the show started, if you see the feet that we have here and the balls that go in there, a problem a lot of guys had before, and we did too when we started working with the prototypes in the beginning, that is, if the feet are not moving on ball feet and are not moving with the metal while you are pulling on it, you're actually diving your tabs into your metal. So, and that creates damage. So the bigger the real estate of these, the more you protect and keep your repairs clean. So I understand guys that want to have a smaller one. They can buy them extra. We have them separately, $50 I think, and you can cut them up if you want to. But the smaller you go, with the power that this thing has, the more risk that there is to make more damage or dipping of the tabs. You can also put them this way.
That's
like
what I did.
Of course, just put them this way. I demonstrated that in some videos already, and then they're out of the way. But you need some real estate, not only to not dip or create damage, but to have a big surface to give a good stretch on the whole or big area enough to put lateral tension on. That's why we also made these beams so long. Some guys say, yeah, it's heavier than most lateral tension. Yeah, you know why? If you want to do lateral tension on a whole door, it makes no sense to put the feet in the middle of a door.
Yeah.
Because you have the beams in there, you have the glue, you have the reinforcements. If you do lateral tension within the skin, then you're going to pull in there, and then you're going to cause some damage or some tension and some friction and some waves in there. If you can be on the sides of the door, then you're going to pull the whole door up to its original strength. And all you need to do is glue pull with something else or with a tool and release it back to where it needs to be originally. But the narrower you go, the more risk you create, or the more risk there is to create damage within the panel. Because you can, with lateral tension, believe you me, you can destroy a panel if you apply it wrong.
Yeah. It's those feet are like what Barry was saying with the anchor points of a frame machine, like on a fender and door. That feet, I could put a bunch of glue, put between the door and fender, anchor point, and then do my lateral tension.
So I mean, it's
extra
amazing.
This here is what we have termed a low center of gravity. So the center of gravity where you're pulling, if you put what we would call a 2x4, what you guys call a 4x2 piece of timber, you glue that on there, and it's sitting up this height, and you're pushing on the top side, it's tipping, perhaps, not all the time. But this here, as Jonathan has stated, is about just a couple of mil off the panel. When my finger goes into that there. I'm just almost coming through the back of it. Now, that when we come to the top of this leg, from there to here, 7 inches. So we have a low centre of gravity controlled from here, so that you have workspace. And this here is the equivalent to a snowshoe. So if you go out walking in the Rocky Mountains, I don't know where you go walking in the snow, but if you go out walking in the snow with bare shoes on, you'll sink. This is a snowshoe. This is buoyancy on the top of the panel, so that we can put that pressure pulling up. So when you pull up, you're pushing down. So this is fit to do that, to hold a snowshoe hold out on the panel. Now, say you're coming between a back door and a front door, and the gaps here. And say you're only pulling the back door, but you can't get, you don't want to put the whole tab on there. You can put that half and half. So you can glue the half of the pad. Leave this without glue. But I would advise to put a bit of Gorilla Tape or 2-inch masking tape here, so it'll give you a slip. So once your panel comes, this part of it is slipping on the other door. So you're doing half, you have good buoyancy, it's not going to go into the panel. So the snowshoe is going to work, it's not going to push in and drive in, and it's going to give you enough purchase. Now, people have been saying, it's taking a full stick of glue in there. Oh, a stick of glue? How much is a stick of glue? If you're getting all these big prices to repair cars, you have this tool. I would class it as the workshop apprentice. But this apprentice, when you say to young Jimmy, hold that, get me that, pull this, do that, and he's standing there having a smoke or he's looking on his phone. Once you have this, couple of weeks' wages, this guy doesn't talk back, he doesn't go on holidays, he doesn't take dinner, he doesn't not turn in the mornings, he's always there, he's in the corner, he's the cheapest apprentice, he's the cheapest help in the workshop.
They already have one, Barry. You don't need to sell it. They have one.
I'm gonna buy 2.
But I'm going to tell you one key thing to this tool is glue and glue temperature.
Yes, it's like we've been saying for years already. The prepping before you GPR or glue pull is so important. You warm up the panel, you clean it. Kiko calls it the 6 C's. But it's the 5 important steps that you do, and then you repeat the process. But what I've been seeing lately, and that might be a problem for some guys using it, because of the pressures on it, please use a glue gun that is glue, and that is a high velocity or a high capacity glue gun. Because I see guys using it, and then they squeeze out glue. And then the first bit of glue comes out hot, and then they're squeezing out sausages. But that sausage gives you no strength anymore. So the glue needs to flow out over the whole tab. So you need a professional glue gun to use this tool, or to use this surface of feet and to glue them properly to the panel. And then you will have no problem whatsoever, because I tested it with gauges, like Barry said before, over 1,000 pounds. But it's clear that if it's a GPR tool with glue pulling and glue, that you need to apply it the proper way, of course.
Now, when you glue those tabs, you're filling the tab. It's on the panel. Are you going around that on the panel too?
Sometimes I do. If I see that while tipping the tab that the top went down a little bit and there's not enough, just fill it up on the side, whatever you want to do. Because if it's glued properly, make sure you get it off. You might need to use the heat gun afterwards, warm it up to release it again. But the thing is, it needs to be properly glued. And like you say, Ryan, it's a good point there. Always first glue your feet on your panel. So make sure that you determine where you want the lateral tension to be, glue on the foot, and then make sure that the lateral tension runs through the beam or the feet exactly where you need to be. Because if the other foot is off, and then you want to lock in your lock-on lifter, and you can't grab the deepest point, then you have to release your foot again and glue it properly. We're going to come with a nice tool in the future to help you out doing exactly that. But now you can use a tape or whatever you use, a masking tape or whatever. But that's an important feature to start your first 80-90% in your first pull. Make sure The lateral tension runs through the center of these sockets, through the body line, following it, or where you want the lateral tension to be. Because if you just put the tool on there like you dream to put it on there, there is no science in there. Make sure you know, here is my lateral tension, here is the strongest part that I need to release. Make sure you glue those feet properly, and then it's really easy to connect the feet and the beam on it, and then you're cranking.
Now, for some of these new guys in here, I'm going to ask the question: how do you find out where you need the lateral tension?
It's a simple answer, actually. It is like when you start doing body work on bigger panels, ask any body man. Barry will probably confirm. If you repair bigger panels, always the strongest parts first. Always. So that means if it's a quarter panel, you want your wheel well to be in its place, because that wheel well will put the normal tension back on the panel that you need. Second, body lines. And the last thing is the deepest dent, and that will already half released while you put those two strong parts in its place again. So the wheel well you can pull with other tools on its place, but then that lateral tension has to run through the strongest part, and that is the body line running through that quarter. And then make sure you have it on there. The rest will follow out, it will smooth out. But the mistakes are made when people start pulling on deeper parts and the stronger parts are still in. And then they start stretching and molding up the whole thing.
And you'll see the metal move there, right? Like if you're in the wrong spot, you'll see something going on as you're adding that lateral tension. You'll see the metal do some weird stuff, and you're like, something's wrong here. Like you'll know. It's you're gonna know.
Yeah.
I would say lateral tension, everybody thinks it's horizontal tension. It's not. Look at your dent. If this is your panel and what you're trying to do, a dent on the size of the dent, it's not every dent's going to be different. But a dent could be, if that's a panel, you look for the fold. If the panel has been, if that's the dent on the panel, what you want to do is, if you put a tension on, a horizontal tension here and here, it'll help. But the best thing to do, there's the fold, there's the damage. Unfold the damage. Put it there and there. And unfold the damage. If it's there, put it here and here and unfold the damage. So what you do is you're not just horizontal, and you can be all the different angles. If your dent's here, you unfold it. And it's a simple, if I went into a playground, you wouldn't be allowed to ask the child to do these things, but if you said, give the child a bit of paper and say, fix that bit of paper, make that straight again, the child would take the bit of paper down and it'll do, and it's done that and that, and that's the child. So we're technicians, we're supposed to be the professionals, and the first thing you need to do, if that's the fold in the panel there, that's the fold in the panel, give it to the child, and the child will do fold. And that's what we are doing. We are putting our hand, suit Spider-Man, stick it on and stretch it out. That's what Spider-Man, how Spider-Man would fix it like that. We have to do the same. So you unfold, and if you have an impact area and you have a crown, you can go inside the crown because them feet will undulate and they'll come up out if you're beat for space. But probably, and everyone's different on this. I don't know it. I wish I could be able to push dents, because it's a science that I will never be able to master. I'm professional. That means you get a living on it. It doesn't mean the same. Men 100 times better than me. This is why the tool was developed, because I couldn't do the things that some of the genius men can do. So I had to have help. This is the help. So if you have the crowns, there's a crown around that area. You'll either have metal flow or corrugation. Metal flow is where the metal flows out and corrugation is where it's bound up inside this perimeter. So you metal flow, or you get corrugation. So if you put the tabs on outside it and pull out, then you can have metal flow when you're pushing out or pulling out. But if you don't move the crowns out, an old guy, we were making panels, English wheel and this type of stuff, and lead loading and all that, he says, you'll corrugate that panel. And corrugate that panel meant, if you push up or hammer up there, all you're doing is ripple the panel. Corrugation, corrugate iron. You're going to corrugate that unless you move the outside, so you need to get flow. And the flow is by moving the resistance, and the resistant area is the crowns. So go to the outside of the crowns and move that out, and you will have metal flow, and you won't have corrugation.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
See, we should be charging for this.
I know. I gotta give you guys
a couple guys are asking, are you going to be at MTE this year?
Yes, we are. We're even doing a seminar.
Now, are you going to be selling tools there?
We have resellers in the US, because if I would try to have a booth there, then in the past I was on booths with Kiko, and I have a business visa, so I can do seminars and all that, but I cannot work in the US, or they would put me in jail. That's how it works. Wow. So Anson and Kiko have the tools in stock. You can buy them there in the US, and then pretty soon probably Keith will have them too.
Wow.
So
Cosentino?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're passionate about our tools.
Yeah, I gotta give you a compliment. I see a lot of tool makers come out with tools real fast to like beat someone, or I mean, you guys had to have been working on this tool for a couple of years.
Yes, correct.
Couple of years. I would say the bare bones basis this is probably at least 10-year-old, at least.
Wow.
But coming up to me, meeting Jonathan, and then us having to wait and hold back for patents and getting that through. Like, I was lucky enough to get to a seminar in 21. I went to several advanced skill seminars. There was a seminar that Keith and Shane had run in 21, I think it was. And huge repairs, massive repairs being done by out of the park technicians. Bryce Gelly, Dan Zidek, Shane Jacks, who else was there? Some other man, Derek Yost. He had the worst panel in the house. It was mounted. And when I, with my bumping along the bottom skills, went there and was going to see the men fix, and they did. Every man made a brilliant job. Could never achieve what they could. Zan Zidek straightened a crumpled panel with a sharp tip tool. Wow. He was moving edges here with a sharp over. He was doing this and moving that edge over there. That's my take on it. Shane Jacks blended a panel out. It was all ripples. It was like the ocean. Bryce Kelly's panel, he was sliding Stanley tools to get stuff to move. Derek's
but he's not fair. He's a wizard. He uses magic. He uses magic.
Yeah, he does.
It's not fair.
Yeah, he does.
I came home, I could have almost cried for 3 weeks. Because I says, I'd never be able to do that. But then I says, but where was the tension? Nobody had tension. There wasn't a ratchet strap. No disrespect. There's the brilliant men, they didn't need it. There was no ratchet straps. There was no pulling devices. There was nothing in the house. So that was the world's best in the house. And there was no tension. So this here has emerged from 2021. This here has emerged shortly after that. I came home and started to
Barry, there are. If you go online, I'm using a shot in the presentation from 10 years ago, and there's a German company that have straps on a panel, and they do lateral tension with glue pulling. 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When we were doing body repairs on Celette and Correct machines, what we always did was, if the car was hit in the back and you needed a straight out of quarter panel, you welded metal plates on the quarters, you put clamps on them, and you pull them from the
Uh-oh.
back with hydraulics, so that all was lateral pulling tension. But what changed really, I don't know why it's such a hype the last 3-4 years in PDR, because that German company had it online for 10 years already. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
But the glue made a whole difference. I still remember when we came out with the first K-bar and K-beam, our limit was the glue then. Because some glues were only designed to do like hail repair. And a lot of hail glues, like you well know, is you put them on there and you want to rip off the tab as fast as you can, because speed is money, time is money. But what happened was, with those big centipedes, you glued them on with those type of glues, and then you put pressure on it, and you slide. You want to slide away a crown, or you want to hit one of those crowns, and then boom, the glue just released.
What
Say,
what glue are you using?
now today we're using Charles's Kamoto glue, and I'm using a German glue as well, and those are pretty similar, close. There are some things coming in the future stronger than that, but the thing is, because you use constant tension, you don't need to over pull the whole thing, because a mistake guys make is they want to do lateral tension and they're gonna put all the power in the world they can on it, even like with an hydraulic on there. Boom, let's crank it up to 3 or 4 tons, and that is wrong. That's just wrong. Just put some pressure on it, like Barry said before. If you push in those springs and then release, double action theory again, like the old dolly thing. You push up and you slap the whole thing, but there's a double action going on with glue pulling as well. You put the lifter on it, the feet hold back, and you pull with the tab. That's a double action. The slide hammer is the roughest thing you can do in glue pulling, because you just do boom, and if you do that on a roof, the whole roof goes like. But you don't need that. You want control, and that glue today, that glue delivers that, and that is what changed the whole game. Glues, like, there's a reason, like Charles with his Kamoto glue is a great glue, but again, some guys don't like it because they have cheap guns. You need to have it hot enough. It needs to be steaming when it comes out of there, and well prepped, and then you'll pull like a bull.
And plan on losing skin.
Yeah.
Because it's going to happen. And you know, I was running multiple guns at the same time with different types of glue.
Yeah.
But the best that I've used as glue gun that I've been using since I got this was the Cam Auto glue gun. Really did a good job with getting it to temperature, the amount of glue you can feed through that. But I feel like on my end, a key feature of this tool, there's a bunch of lateral tension tools out there now. The best thing that really made a difference for me is that thing flopping to the side.
Yes. Exactly.
And being able to really see the center and see what you're working on, and opening that up if you need to get the crown out of there or blend a spot. It makes all the difference. It
is. I want to say about glue, to be just brutally honest, Ken from Metalmatic has some great glues too, because he gave me a package 2 years ago at MTE. I used it. It is up there with the strongest glues out there as well. So, and sometimes his glues melt a bit stronger on a bit lower temperature, but they are really strong and good too. But
the Perfect Pull has been good, really good glue. The Perfect Pull and Cam Auto, they right now are my go-tos.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
The Perfect Pull is a lot like the Cam Auto, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah.
But I've used Cam Auto for the last 5 years.
It might sound strange me saying this, but for me personally, the way a glue releases is as important as how strong it pulls. Because if the glue does not come off with alcohol and not releases nicely off the panel, then it can be as strong as you want, but I'm throwing it in the corner because it doesn't release properly.
Yep.
Now, guys are asking, do you think this tension tool replaces the other tension tools that are out there?
If I were to go out tomorrow morning with the new push rod or the new hammer, I'd need to go back for the other ones in the workshop. Everything has its place. This one was designed as a crossover tool. Now we have smaller versions, but this is the one we decided to make our investment in. This is a crossover tool, so we were thinking, who's going to use this? We're thinking of a technician that's faced with bigger damage, crossing over into body shop. There's a huge body shop market potentially for saving pounds on electric vehicles. We can go in and make a small tool. PDR is a huge market, but it's a very small market within an industry.
Yeah.
So we had to set our sights that how can we ever get our investment back? So this here is just proof of concept. This works. We'll have it patented. We can go up, down, in or out with it. But you need answer to the question is everything's good in the right hands. This here isn't going to do. You're not going to get that. Keep that in the back of the van and the vehicle will be fixed. You need to get out and work this. To work this here, you need to have skills, learn skills. It will negate some skills, but as I was saying earlier before the show started, blending, brilliant skill. You don't need as much blending skill with this because blending is chasing. You're chasing that crown that way. Perimeter your damage. You start without tension system and you take and you go bunk, 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 bunk on the size of my finger, top of my finger. And that is what old metalwork skills was called tucking. You tuck that, and that tightens that bit, and then it stops this moving, and you move the bit, and you chase that out. And then you turn around and you chase that route. So a fingertip, a fingertip, a fingertip, a fingertip. This here is,
it's like you said, it's look at the car from a small dent to the like a van or a bedside. We made this tool to be able to work on bedsides. Does it replace all the smaller tools? No, it doesn't. Because you need, like, if you have an arsenal of tabs, small heel tabs to bigger ones. And why do you change? If someone comes to you and you have a shop and he says, I have one tool that replaces all your tools, well, just kick him out because he's a liar. That does nothing.
Snake oil.
Yeah, but why is this? Has this tool all these features? There are just a little bit of panels that are flat. But most panels, look at the bedside, it goes round, it has the wheel well in there, and there are a lot of shapes to it. This tool crosses over those shapes, glues, and follows with the feet, and you can put a lot of tension on there. But why would you put yourself through the procedure of putting the tool on there to fix just this? Mm-hmm. And you would use a small tool. So it does not replace the little tools. It is a tool that can have a big and larger extrusion in there. We're going to come out with a 2-meter extrusion even for guys because they're asking for it. Why? Well, all the vans out there today, you put these bigger feet, even 2 extrusion tools in the middle of a van. You can have straps there or difficult, but you put it over the panel, you stretch it up with lateral tension and the whole dent just flows out. And how are you going to do that with this kind of tool on this kind of a van? I think that's the answer is clear.
And I feel it depends on your business too. You know, are you fixing enterprise cars and there's smaller damage? Are you fixing smashes periodically? Are you doing ridiculous repairs like Bryce? It really just to buy this tool to be cool to have it, I don't think is worth it. No. Is it amazing? Oh my gosh.
It's not a door dinger tool.
No.
But you need to classify your business on some tools that you buy. This is a big purchase. But if you're doing that type of repair.
Is it though? Because in my mind, it's like a frame machine for body shop. That's like 30 grand. 100%, for us, it's 1,500.
You've got to look at some of these guys. That much. That, you know, $1,500 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
It depends on what they're fixing. Are they fixing $40 dent cars, $40 panel, or are they fixing $1,100 smashes?
Ask Bryce what he's asking on average on a big smash.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah, I know.
And compare that to I'm in Europe and Barry's in Ireland. we've been hearing these PDR college pricing and South pricing and all the other guys' big dents pricing. And the guys in Europe were like, what are they getting for those repairs? And
$3,000.
And of course, it helped everybody around the world to pump up the price a little as far as it goes. Don't start this with Barry because you won't have enough in an hour or two in their economy in Ireland. But it is not a lot of money for a PDR guy doing big dents.
Nope.
And it's a collision tool as well. You do not need to finish in PDR. This is going to help collision guys because they don't have a PDR tool to pull up those panels to tension. That's what they need to keep away from welding. They don't have that. They don't even have that.
I think they'll
spot welding.
I think collision guys will understand that really well.
100%. Because as soon as I got it, Mikey's a 17-year auto body tech. And as soon as I got it, I could see his eyes. His eyes were like this big. And he's like, that's what you needed. And I'm like, nah, it just looks cool.
It's amazing.
And I'll tell you, the first week, 2 cars paid for the job. It's paid for.
Yeah.
You know, like and we're all getting older, right? We're all getting older. Alex is he's still young. So,
34.
but stuff like this or stuff like even the doodah, we're trying to make our jobs easier on our body.
Yeah.
Getting the tension off of stuff, getting the stuff you can get in there and push or pull so much easier than you were able to do before this.
What the Americans say, work smarter, not harder.
Not harder.
Yes.
I work smart and hard.
Yeah.
So your seminar that's at MTE, are you going to be mainly going over this tool on techniques, or give us a little history?
It is with Mike O'Grady, and Mike O'Grady, in my book, is one of the best glue pullers in the world. Because Mike is he has something is a bit out of the box him, but he concentrated so hard on glue pulling that he just dropped his push tools in his trunk and started fixing everything with glue pulling only to do it the right way. It took him a lot of time in the beginning, but it gave him a lot of information on how metal really moves and how and what kind of tricks you can use on repairing dents the right way with glue pulling. So it's a seminar of an hour. Mike has half of it. I'm doing the other half. And MTE does not want us to sell tools. So we'll be mainly talking about technique.
Is that on Thursday or Friday, Saturday?
No, it's the Thursday, the education day, or 1 o'clock in the 1 o'clock in the afternoon it starts. It's on the program. I think how to use tension in big dent repair something.
You better get there early.
Yeah.
Better get there early.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna have a line out the door.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's exciting, all of it. All these new.
Now I have someone's asking if Anson sells the feet alone.
They all started off with the sets because we just came out. This is 3 months now that we're doing it, 3 or 4 months. These feet are separately buyable. These new ones that I showed you before the show that you can use on quarters and on they're all separately buyable with the strap that you can pull this way or this way. But I'm sure that Anson or Kiko even or whoever distributes it, and you want extra feet, they will have it over with the pallet. Just let them know what you need, and they will get it with the next shipment.
Barry, Bryce, when Bryce was on the show, he brought 2 tools. He said you make one that was like a flat bar that was a spike, and then one for the edge of a fender.
Yeah.
Is there any way I could get my hands on those?
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Cecil is going to get Cecil.
No, it's not Cecil. It's Cecil.
Cecil.
That's Cecil. Now I can take that. I fixed a GLC Mercedes this evening. The wing is scrap. Wing scrap. The door scrap. But a second-hand door is £850. Can't get a new one, and it's for a dealer that I do a lot of stuff for. I have to go tomorrow and fix cars, and I should have had this done. But so they want me to push for paint, and I have it rightly. But the tools I used was this and this. This is tang. It's like the tang of a file. You take the handle off the file and that handle, it's called the tang. That's a tang. And this is tip. That's tip. Now that comes, lean it on the tire and bang up. So this here, it also was designed for down Volkswagen Tiguan doors for the body line. So you go down the Tiguan door, you wind your glass down, and instead of getting a big wide flat bar, which is direct pressure, you can take this and put this, instead of there, you put it down sideways, past the trunk, bang, round, and then lever that. And this is actually, there's a throw on that comes out to the body line, and there's a tip on that it's like, there's your finger. It's like your finger. There's a nice rounded side and sharp side. You'll not use the sharp side, but this here goes down and in, and then it sits and you push off. And actually it sits on the body line and you can knock off the parts. But this here is thin, but it's a ballistic steel. Now, Bryce said on your show that he could bend that. Good man, Bryce.
Nope.
Careful, buddy, careful. You need to go to MTE soon.
I'd put an egg bag out there on that. That's tough. This one fits into the body line, and that tip just fits in there. And if you're using a flat bar and you're pushing out, you tend to, the tool arcs up and lifts the body line. Yep. This, the way of that sort of down here and going off there, it's lying off down the hill.
Buddy, the question was, can he get his hands on one? This
all three of them. I need 3 of them.
We're getting them manufactured.
Okay.
I'm second in line then.
Yeah, I need them.
I have a consignment of them to go out, and
I need them.
I'm under pressure with getting them out for guys.
Yeah.
Jonathan will tell you.
Well, I'll tell you, even the doodah, I wanted the doodah. I just couldn't get my hands on them when they went away for a little while.
Yeah.
And when I saw this come up,
we got stuck now.
Stop now.
I was like, and it's different, that tool. I was a big J-Berg guy, Rick Hummert tool for fenders. I really, really enjoyed that tool.
Brilliant tool.
But this is different. I think it's different because of the flat edge. You have a round tool in the tire. This has a much wider footprint now than that round stock. And this is more of that pull motion instead of a push motion. You know what I mean? It's just a different, you have way more leverage here. So, but that is a badass tool.
Will anyone be selling that doodah at MTE?
We'll have them in Belgium. I have some here, mostly spoken for. But again, there's parties that are expressing an interest, and we'll try to get them sorted out.
We're not reselling them yet in the US, but pretty soon someone will be able to get them in and then get a number in their shop and then sell them to you guys in the US.
Yeah.
Well, I need those 3 tools and the doodah.
I better start tonight.
Well, guys, I don't want to hold you up too late. I know it's crazy times where you guys are, and I was excited to get you guys on. That's why a lot of guys were like, "You're having the show so much earlier," and I'm like, "It doesn't matter. You're gonna have to watch it later." And we had almost 80 people watching live, so it's been a really, really good show. I'm excited to see you guys at MTE for sure.
We appreciate the airtime, as the guy says.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's nice to get on.
Appreciate you coming on.
100%. You guys get some sleep, because Barry's got to go make 2 sets of those tools right now.
No, he's not.
Big mouth, big mouth.
You guys have a fantastic night. I really appreciate you coming on.
Okay.
Thanks, boys.
See you guys at FT.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya. Boy,
Dude,
These
that was an
guys.
awesome show.
these
Awesome
guys,
show.
I hope they get something out of it. Because
Yeah.
just the hour of us talking,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
mean-
the pure knowledge there is ridiculous.
it is. It is. Should have been a
So,
paid show.
Yeah, it's okay. That's why we do this,
Everything's
right?
free.
This is why we do it.
Yeah.
So
Man, those guys are cool.
it's and
The
I'm
knowledge
telling
that Barry has in metal is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, he needs to write a book. Like, he needs to write a book on old school metal work.
he just needs to come to Baltimore and do some training.
Yeah.
So,
Arizona first.
but no, that was good. I can't wait to see their demonstration at MTE. So
Yeah. I'm not
I'm gonna have to
missing
get
that.
there early. Yeah, I'm gonna go sit in the seminar that's before theirs and just sit in the same chair and not have to
Right.
get up.
Right.
So, but I think it's key, and it's funny because Andy was like, "Oh, you gotta pay Shutty commission because he sold me on it." And I don't. The bad part is, I don't even have to. You don't have to sell anybody on this tool.
Yeah.
When you're there and you're gonna see it in use, they're in trouble because they're gonna sell a shit ton of these tools.
Yeah.
Price point, like I said, the price point. But when you touch this thing, you said it. We talk for
It's the best tool
2
I've bought.
weeks. 2 weeks, and you're like, "This is the best thing. You gotta get this. You
I
gotta
know.
get this." And I'm like, "Nah, whatever, dude. Whatever.
It's the best.
It's fantastic."
I didn't want to say it, but like my K beam, my big one, I have the
Yeah.
mini K beam. I still carry that, but I don't carry the big K beam anymore because
Yeah,
I'm just
we
gonna
rarely
use
use it.
you know.
But like I said, I
Um,
used this on a hail dent, and it made all the
Yeah.
difference for me. I just tried it. I was like, you know what? I know this thing's gonna stretch. I know
Mhm.
I'm gonna need a power PDR box. Let's see what it does. We've got it. Let's try. Boom, boom, boom. And I was like, I looked at Josh's story, and I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I mean, when he was talking about putting ratchet straps on the feet as well as using it, I didn't realize that. So now I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever need a porter power.
I think there's uses. I mean,
Yeah.
you can get dual tension on it. I think it'll help, but it's a great tool. We're really fortunate in our business and even on the show tonight that they stayed up their whole night right now to
Yes.
come on the show and just talk about it, so I want to thank them truly,
Yeah.
just for the opportunity and having both of them on here. And I was excited for you guys that were watching that. Hey, there's some serious knowledge, serious knowledge coming out. So, bro, I hope you have a good last day of your week. And it looks like me and good old Josh Story are going to be working all weekend. So,
Wow.
going to rock it out. We got a lot of stuff to get done before MTE. So, this is one of those times when you like book stuff in the schedule and you're like, oh, it'll be fine. And then like the weeks are coming up and just the schedule's just obliterated. You're like, why the hell did I even book this? I could have pushed it off a little while longer.
Right.
But hey, you know what? We're fortunate. All of us, it just hailed 2 nights ago. This industry is just out of control this year. The hail,
Yeah.
everybody seems busy. And if they're not busy, they go help guys that are busy. I talked to Vidine and he's over there helping Michael and, so we're super fortunate right now. So, cause we went through some tough times there during the pandemic and slow hail year the year before the pandemic. So, but if you guys want this tool, it's jvftools.com. It's a fantastic tool, but it looks like Anson is now and Kiko are selling it. So it's worth every dollar.
Yeah, it is.
So Alex, you have a great night, dude.
You too, man.
You
See you
guys be safe. Keep it real. We will see you next week with another really good show. I'm excited for next week too. And everybody that's on the podcast row stuff, your time slots will be listed tomorrow. So we've got those all worked out and ready to go. Looks like a really good jam-packed schedule. We got some surprises in there. So I'm excited. So what were you going to ask?
Well, you said surprises, so I think I know.
You can ask. Go ahead.
Is PDR College coming on?
We got them locked down. And I was talking to Keith, and
yeah,
it's only due. You don't know, like, he's like, yeah, I don't know. You know, we got to work the booths. And I'm like, whatever you want to do. And they text me back. He was like, we're in. I'm like, okay, let's go. You know what I mean? That'll be a good show for everybody to watch.
Yeah,
and you know what else? I said to Kevin and Sheldon, the cool thing with the PDR Radio Row, you watch us at home, right? Now you get to see it live. You get to watch those guys. You get a whole nother experience of
the
each
show
podcast, you know? So it's a cool little thing. Even if you watch them for 15 minutes and walk away, or you're walking by and you can pull people off the floor and be like, hey, what do you think about this? Or, you know, so it's going to be a really cool situation. So
I remember a show Keith and Shane did on that PDR College. They're talking about like what you were saying a minute ago. Dent guys being busy, too busy. I forgot who it was. I think it was Shane. He was like, just take it and figure it out.
Yeah. 100%.
And I've built my business off of that.
And you've always figured it out.
I've always figured it out.
A lot of this business is your brain, like in either dents or
social skills,
business. Social skills, or how to communicate, or, you know, a lot of times, perfect example, new techs going into accounts all nervous, and you walk in there and you're scared. Boom. Step one, you're wrong, because they read that energy. You know, our business is all about energy, just like tension.
Yeah.
So
if you go in nervous, they're gonna think you're being shady 100%. Or something.
Let's go in. I'm better than your guy.
That.
You know what I mean? So, I'm excited for MD. I really am. It's gonna be a good show. So, you guys, Alex, have a great night. I'm going to bed.
See you
I get
guys.
to go to bed early tonight. Look at that. Maybe we should start doing this at 8 o'clock, and everybody say no. I like the later. So, but
it's only 7 here. So,
you guys keep it real. We will see you next week.
See you guys. Bye-bye.